Once upon a time, there lived a young woman named Kioma. At 28, she carried herself with a kind of quiet beauty, graceful, calm, and dignified, even when life had not always been kind to her. She was 7 months pregnant, her rounded belly showing proudly beneath the flowing cream gown she wore that evening. Her smile was gentle but never naive, and her gaze carried a depth that made people feel she saw more than just their outward appearance. Kioma had waited many years for love she could trust, and now she believed she had finally found it in Ibuka. He was refined, intelligent, and charming, always knowing the right words to speak and how to deliver them. He made her laugh, made her feel secure, and when she feared the coming pains of childbirth, he held her hand and whispered, "You are my whole world." Tomorrow, she was supposed to marry him. The family house was alive with noise and celebration. Cousins running around, aunties in scarves frying chicken in the backyard, someone shouting in the hallway about missing baby wipes. The air was filled with cheerful chaos. In her childhood room, Kioma sat quietly at the edge of her bed, rubbing her belly in slow circles. On the door, her veil hung neatly, waiting for morning. Her cousin Linda entered without knocking, as always. Chewing gum, she flopped down beside her. "Are you just going to sit here all night? You should do something special for your groom," Linda teased. Kioma gave a tired smile. "What kind of special thing?" Linda rolled her eyes. "You're about to marry the love of your life, and you won't even deliver his gift yourself? He's at Mareri Hotel tonight. Sneak in, hand him that gold wristwatch, maybe write a sweet note. It'll blow his mind." Kioma sighed. "Linda, I'm exhausted. My legs are swollen. I've been on them all day." Linda leaned close. "That's exactly why it'll mean so much more. Do it for love." Kioma hesitated. "You don't think it'll be awkward, showing up unannounced?" Linda stood, hands on her hips. "You're carrying his child, and you're marrying him tomorrow. If anyone should knock on his door tonight, it's you." Kioma thought for a moment, then slowly stood. "All right, I'll go, but I won't stay long." "Good girl," Linda said with a satisfied grin. The hotel stood quietly in the night, glowing softly under its yellow lights. Kioma stepped out of the Uber, carrying a small paper bag, the wristwatch and a folded handwritten note inside. She walked slowly, one hand on her belly, the other gripping the bag. At the front desk, she smiled politely. "Good evening. Please, I'm looking for Mr. Ibuka. He checked in today." The receptionist tapped at her keyboard, then replied, "Yes, he did, but he's not alone. He left instructions, no interruptions." Kioma froze. "Not alone?" "Yes," the woman answered calmly. "He arrived with a woman." Her stomach tightened, but she managed a polite smile. "Thank you." She stepped aside, her heart thudding painfully. Maybe it was his sister, maybe a friend, maybe something innocent. Yet something in her chest whispered, "Don't ignore this. Go and see." She entered the elevator, pressed the button for the 7th floor, and stared at her reflection in the mirrored doors. Her hands were trembling. The hallway was silent, her footsteps muffled by the red carpet. Passing room 708, then 710, she stopped at room 712. Muffled laughter slipped through the door, then came moaning. Her hand shot to her mouth to stifle a scream. She leaned closer. Ibuka's voice came clear through the door. "Kioma is too emotional these days. Always talking about the future. I'm only marrying her because of the baby. If she wasn't pregnant, I'd be gone." A woman's giggle followed. "You're wicked." "She thinks this is love," Ibuka continued with a smirk in his tone. "But once the wedding is over, I'll control everything." More laughter, more moans. Kioma's lips trembled, but her face stayed stone still. She pulled out her phone, opened the recorder, and pressed record. For nearly 6 minutes she captured their voices, their betrayal, their lies. She didn't cry, she didn't shout. She stood there quietly, phone in hand, heart breaking but steady. When she finally left, she held her belly, not with joy this time, but with fierce protection. In the Uber, pale-faced, she stopped at a pharmacy, bought tissues, water, and a memory card. She saved the recording, emailed herself a copy, and whispered, "I am not the fool you think I am, Ibuka. Tomorrow I'll show you." She did not sleep that night. Lying in the dark, she replayed the recording again and again, his words echoing in her head. She was carrying his child, yet while she dreamt of forever, he was mocking her upstairs in a hotel bed. But still, she did not cry. The pain was deep, but it did not destroy her. She touched her belly softly and whispered to her unborn child, "I'll protect you. No one will ever use you to hurt me." At dawn, she rose. While the compound buzzed with wedding preparations, music blaring, food being cooked, decorations being set, Kioma moved like a shadow, calm, focused, determined. She called her uncle first. "Uncle, I need you to pull your investment from Ibuka's business. Don't ask questions, I'll explain later." His voice was grave. "Did he hurt you?" "Yes, but I'm safe now. Please, just act quickly." A pause, then quietly, "I'll handle it. I'm proud of you." Next, she called her lawyer. "Cancel the marriage license, completely. I don't want it valid tomorrow, not for 1 second." The lawyer gasped. "Kioma, is this about Ibuka?" "I've never been more certain in my life." "All right, I'll take care of it immediately." When she hung up, her chest finally felt lighter. She would never wear his ring. That morning, Linda entered with food. Her smile was too sweet, her eyes shifting nervously. Kioma noticed. She accepted the plate politely, but didn't eat. Their conversation was short, almost brittle. When Linda left, Kioma locked the door behind her and whispered to her reflection in the mirror, "Tomorrow you'll see who you tried to play with." Later that day, Ibuka called. His voice was tender, smooth, pretending as always. He spoke of the wedding, the baby, their future. Kioma listened quietly, answering just enough to keep him unsuspecting. When he asked, "Are we good?" she said, "We're perfect." But in her heart, she already knew the truth. Tomorrow, the world would see him as he truly was. That evening, her father came to pray with her. He held her hands and said softly, "May this marriage be full of peace, love, and loyalty." Kioma whispered, "Amen," though in her heart her prayer was different. Let truth be louder than his lies. The morning sun rose quietly, as if nothing unusual was about to happen. Birds sang, flowers opened, and the world pretended all was well. But in her room, Kioma sat in front of a mirror while a makeup artist dusted powder across her face. "You're so calm," the woman remarked. "Most brides are shaking by now." Kioma's lips curved faintly. "I'm ready." On the bed lay her wedding gown, the same one Linda had chosen with her weeks earlier. As the artist moved to her lips, Kioma's phone buzzed. She glanced down. A message from her lawyer. "Marriage license canceled. Officially withdrawn. Nothing valid can take place today. Best of luck." Kioma's chest rose and fell slowly. She smiled. Downstairs, Ibuka was already in place, dressed in a sharp wine-colored suit, polished shoes gleaming, his hair freshly cut. He stood at the church entrance, shaking hands, flashing his perfect smile, greeting guests like the ideal groom. Linda stood beside him in her golden bridesmaid gown, grinning smugly as though she had won a hidden battle. Kioma watched them through the window. The anger that had once burned in her was gone. What remained was something colder, stronger. She reached for her bouquet. Inside it, carefully hidden, was a tiny Bluetooth audio transmitter connected to the church sound system. All she needed was half a minute. She touched her belly gently and whispered, "Not every bride walks into slavery. Today I walk into freedom." The convoy of cars was ready. Cameras rolled, people cheered, children shouted, "The bride is here!" Phones flashed as her car pulled into the compound. Inside the vehicle, Kioma sat motionless, her face flawless beneath the veil. Her gown of white silk flowed around her like water. Her father sat beside her. "My daughter," he asked softly, "are you ready?" She turned her head slowly. "Yes, Daddy. I'm ready." The car door opened. She stepped out, and the air shifted instantly. Guests rose to their feet. Gasps rippled through the crowd. "She looks like a queen. God took his time creating her." She walked gracefully, each step measured, her face serene but unreadable. The organ began to play. Ibuka's smile widened when he saw her. "She came," he whispered to his best man. "I thought she might back out." His friend chuckled. "You're lucky. Not every woman would still look this good while carrying your child." Kyoma walked the aisle without glancing left or right. She met Ibuka's eyes but gave him no smile. He assumed it was nerves and whispered, "You look incredible." She said nothing. At the altar, her father handed her over. Pastor Ben lifted the microphone, smiling warmly. "Good morning, everyone. Today is a sacred day, a day of love, of unity, of two hearts becoming one." Kyoma's grip tightened on her bouquet. Her heart beat fast, but her face remained calm. The pastor turned to Ibuka. "Groom, please say your vows." Ibuka took the mic proudly. "Kyoma, from the moment I met you, I knew you were special. You've brought peace, joy, and hope into my life. You carry not only our child, but my heart. I promise to love, protect, and walk beside you. Today I give you forever." The congregation clapped. Some dabbed their eyes. Linda, seated in the front row, smiled like a victor, glancing at her phone as she secretly recorded. The pastor turned to Kyoma. "Bride, your vows, please." She stood still for a long moment. Then, slowly, she took the microphone. Instead of speaking, she lowered her hand to the bouquet and pressed a hidden button. A faint crackle echoed through the speakers. Then Ibuka's voice filled the church. "Kyoma is too emotional these days. Always talking about the future. I'm only marrying her because of the baby. If she wasn't pregnant, I'd be gone." Gasps spread across the hall. Guests looked around in confusion. Another voice giggled. "You're wicked." Ibuka's voice again. "She thinks this is love, but she's nothing without that baby. Once the wedding is over, I'll control everything." Then came the unmistakable sounds of moaning, kissing, laughter. Chaos erupted. "Is that Ibuka's voice? What's happening? Turn it off." But Kyoma stepped forward calmly. "No, let it play." Ibuka's face turned pale. He tried to snatch the mic, but Pastor Ben blocked him. "Kyoma, what is this?" She lifted her chin. "This," she said steadily, "is what my groom was doing last night while I prayed for today. That recording is from Marari Hotel, room 7112, where he and his lover spent the night." The hall exploded into noise. People shouted. Phones shot up to record. Ibuka stammered, "Kyoma, it's not what you think." "Not what I think," she cut in sharply. "You mocked me. You laughed about controlling me. You told another woman I was nothing without this child." He reached for her hand desperately. "Please, let me explain." She pulled away. "Don't touch me." Linda tried to slip out of her seat quietly, but Kyoma's voice carried across the hall. "And for those wondering who the other woman is, don't look far." She pointed directly at her cousin. "Meet Linda, my cousin, my bridesmaid, the woman my groom betrayed me with." The hall erupted. Screams, gasps. A woman fainted. Ibuka froze. Linda's face drained of color. Pastor Ben looked as though the ground had disappeared beneath him. Kyoma removed her veil and stood tall. "I came here ready to marry a man I thought loved me. Instead, I found truth, and I will not ignore it." She slipped off her engagement ring and let it fall to the floor. "I will not cry today. I will not run. I will leave this place with my head high and raise this child in peace." She turned to the choir. "Sing, but not for a wedding. Sing for freedom." Then she walked down the aisle like a queen in battle, her gown trailing behind her. Guests rose to their feet, clapping first softly, then louder and louder. Phones flashed everywhere. Kyoma didn't look back. Outside, the sun touched her skin, warm and bright. Her baby stirred inside her, and for the first time in days, she smiled. Strength radiated from her, not the loud, desperate kind, but the quiet, unshakable strength born from betrayal and survival. A woman from her father's church came near, her voice trembling. "Kyoma, my daughter, are you all right?" Kyoma met her eyes with calm strength. "I will be." From the back, another voice cut in. "What happened inside? Is the wedding canceled?" Before Kyoma could answer, Someone else spoke. Cancelled. She exposed him. The groom was cheating. With her own cousin. A ripple of gasps spread. Guests who hadn't yet entered rushed to their cars, whispering furiously into their phones. Inside, the church air had shifted. No music, no joy, only the heavy weight of shame. At the altar, Ebuka was frozen, hands trembling, lips moving but producing no words. His mother, Mrs. Mardu, stormed forward. "Ebuka, what is this disgrace? Tell me it's a lie." "Mommy, I don't know what she's saying," he stammered. She struck his shoulder. "Don't know? We all heard it. Your voice, your filthy laughter. Are you insane? You have shamed us before God with a pregnant bride and your own cousin-in-law?" "Mommy, please." "You've destroyed this family's name," she shouted, shaking with rage. Ebuka buried his face in his hands. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I thought I could fix it before the wedding." Pastor Ben sat down heavily, Bible still in hand, head bowed. In 20 years of conducting weddings, he had never witnessed a bride dismantle her groom at the altar. One of the elders leaned close. "Pastor, what shall we do?" Pastor Ben raised his weary eyes. "We pray." Meanwhile, Linda was trying to slip away through the side door, her steps shaky, her face pale, but 2 women blocked her. "You're not leaving," one said coldly. "After what you did? Sleeping with your cousin's fiancé the night before her wedding," the other added. Linda's lips quivered. "Please, let me go. I didn't mean." The first woman laughed bitterly. "Didn't mean? A mistake that lasted all night in room 712? People gathered around, shouting, recording, some throwing accusations. Linda shrank back, trapped in the circle of shame. Outside, Kioma's father placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Let's go home, my child." She turned slowly. "Not yet." He frowned. "But you've said everything. You've already walked away." "There's one more thing," she whispered. She walked back toward the church, her gown trailing behind her like a storm returning. The crowd parted in silence, making way. When she stepped inside, the hall fell still, Ebuka's eyes lit with desperation. "Kioma, please, I know I failed, but don't walk away like this. We can fix it." She walked straight to the altar and asked Pastor Ben softly, "Sir, may I speak one last time?" He gave her the microphone. Kioma turned to the crowd. Her voice was steady, resonant. "This is not just for me. This is for every woman who ever carried a man's child while he carried secrets. For every woman who believed love and was repaid with betrayal. I gave you everything, Ebuka. My heart, my time, my body, my child. I defended you when people doubted you. And still, you mocked me. You laughed with another woman." She looked at the guests, eyes unwavering. "But I will not cry. Not here. Not today. Today, I choose myself." Her gaze shifted to Linda, who sat with her head bowed in shame. "Blood is meant to protect, not to betray. You were my cousin, my sister, my friend, and still you did this." Then she turned back to Pastor Ben. "Sir, this wedding cannot continue." He nodded gravely. "It is your right." Kioma pressed her hand against her belly, drew in a long breath, and faced the cameras. "I may leave here alone, but I leave whole, not broken, not ashamed. I am still a bride, just not to a liar." She walked down the aisle once more, but this time the people stood and clapped. The sound rose, stronger, louder. Some women wept, others whispered prayers. The choir began singing softly, "I am strong, I am brave, I rise today." Outside, reporters swarmed. "Miss Kioma, are you still marrying Mr. Ebuka?" She looked straight at the cameras. "I came in a wedding gown, but I leave in my power." She entered the car beside her father. "Let's go home," he said quietly. The door closed, the engine started, and the car pulled away, leaving flowers, ribbons, and a ruined groom behind. Back inside the church, Ebuka collapsed into a pew. His mother paced furiously. "I warned you about women like Linda, didn't I?" "Mommy," he groaned, "I didn't know it would end like this." "You didn't know? Did you think she'd never find out? You think women are fools?" An elder came forward sternly. "Leave this place. God's house is not for disgrace." Mrs. Mardu pulled her son up. They walked out with their heads down. Linda had already vanished, though her name would remain in people's mouths for months to come. That night, Kioma sat barefoot on her bed. Her gown was folded neatly, her veil tossed aside, her hair undone. She was tired, but her eyes glowed with life. She rubbed her stomach gently. "It's just you and me now, and we're going to be okay." Her phone buzzed. Uncle Uchenna, her godfather. She picked up. "Kioma," his deep voice said, "I've withdrawn my investment from Ibuka's company. His accounts will be frozen in 2 days." "Thank you," she whispered. "I'm proud of you. You did what most women fear. You stood up for yourself." She gave a faint smile. "I had no choice." "No, child," he said gently. "You did have a choice, and you chose yourself." She ended the call, looked at the wedding invitation pinned to her wall, and slowly tore it down. She dropped it in the trash. The next morning, the silence felt strange. No decorators rushing, no aunties shouting, no gospel music. Just quiet. Kioma sat up, touched her stomach, and smiled faintly when the baby kicked. Her wedding dress from yesterday hung lifeless by the door. The bouquet had been dismantled, the veil crumpled on a chair. She checked her phone. Dozens of missed calls, from Ibuka, from Linda. Her name was trending online. Kioma the Brave, room 7012, altar bombshell. Videos of her speech had crossed hundreds of thousands of views. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but she felt peace. In a hotel room across town, Ibuka sat hunched on the edge of a bed, head in his hands, eyes red. He hadn't slept. His phone buzzed again, another call from his lawyer. He ignored it. Then a message came through. "Your investor has pulled out. Accounts frozen. We must meet urgently." Ibuka groaned. How did everything collapse in one day? His wedding destroyed, his reputation shredded, his business crumbling, and Linda not answering his calls. He wanted to scream. Later that afternoon, he finally called Kioma again. This time she answered. "Hello, Kioma," his voice cracked. "Please, can we talk? There's nothing left to say. I know I hurt you. I know I ruined everything, but I didn't plan for this to happen." "You're right," she said calmly. "You didn't plan to be exposed. You planned to lie, to use me. I swear, I never wanted to use you." "Then why did you laugh? Why did you say those words with another woman the night before our wedding?" I was drunk, I was confused, I was stressed." "Save it." There was silence, then Kioma's voice, steady and sharp. "I carried your child, I gave you my trust, and you gave yourself to my cousin. You dreamed of controlling me like property. I was terrified." Ibuka's tone broke. "I wasn't ready for marriage. I thought if we went ahead, maybe I'd grow into it. Please, Kioma, I'm losing everything. Investors gone, clients pulling out, my name in ruins. Please." Her reply was cold, final. "You're not sorry because of what you did. You're only sorry because the world saw it." He paused. "So, it's really over?" "Yes," Kioma answered firmly. "I'm done." Before he could respond, she ended the call. At her family home, the living room was crowded. Aunties, uncles, cousins, everyone had gathered after the news spread. Some stared at her with pity, others with admiration. Her father stood, clearing his throat. "My daughter has faced what many women would crumble under. She stood firm. She revealed the truth, and I stand by her." The room echoed with murmurs of agreement. Her mother dabbed her eyes. "We raised her well." Her aunt leaned closer. "Kioma, what's next for you?" Kioma lifted her head. "I'll raise my child. I'll heal. And I will never again let a man like Ibuka into my life." Applause filled the room. Meanwhile, in her parents' house, Linda sat with swollen eyes, crying. Her father's voice thundered. "You have stained this family's name, sleeping with your cousin's fiancé the night before her wedding?" "I didn't mean to," Linda began. "Silence," he roared. "You are no longer welcome at any family gathering. If Kioma never forgives you, you will have no one to blame but yourself. You deserve every consequence." Linda wept harder. Her mother remained silent, her face cold with disappointment. Ibuka's own troubles deepened. His phone rang again. His lawyer. This time he couldn't ignore it. "Ibuka, your accounts are frozen. Your biggest investor, Kioma's godfather, has pulled out all his funds. And after the scandal, no new investors are willing to proceed." Ibuka's chest tightened. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying you may need to shut down everything until we assess what's left." The phone slipped in his sweaty palm as he sank into his chair. In one night, his future had collapsed. Online, Kioma's video spread like wildfire. Messages poured in. "You're an inspiration. God bless you for standing up for yourself. You've given strength to countless women." She didn't reply, but she read every word. Then one message stood out, from a woman named Nosi. "Hi Kioma, I saw your video. My husband has cheated for years and I stayed silent. But yesterday, after watching you walk away with dignity, I packed my things and left. Thank you for reminding me I matter." Kioma read it twice, then leaned back with a faint smile. She wasn't just making noise, she was making change. The next day at the hospital, her doctor smiled warmly. "Your baby is healthy, strong heartbeat, growth on track." Kioma's hand rested on her belly. She smiled too. "I'm strong as well." As she left, a woman stopped her in the hallway. "Are you Kioma?" "Yes." The woman hugged her tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. Kioma blinked. "Do I know you?" "No, but I know what you did, and I'm proud." At home, Kioma sat at her desk, an idea stirring. She began to write. A blog. A safe space for women betrayed, abandoned, or broken. She named it The Bride Who Walked Away. Her first post read, "I wore a white gown, but I refused to marry shame. I walked away, and it was the best decision of my life." Stories from other women started to pour in. The platform grew faster than she imagined. And with every story she healed. Not only herself, but others too. A week later, Ibuka appeared at her gate, clutching flowers. The gateman, following her instructions, refused to let him in. He waited for an hour before leaving the bouquet on the ground. Later, Kioma watched the footage from her security camera. She shook her head. Too late. That evening, she sat in the living room with her father. He switched off the TV and looked at her. "There's something I never told you," he said quietly. "When your mother and I first married, she caught me talking to another woman." Kioma's brows lifted. "What?" He nodded. "She didn't leave, though she should have. She forgave me, and I changed. But sometimes I wish she had made me face the weight of my actions first." Kioma chuckled softly. "So, you think I did the right thing?" "You did what many women are too afraid to do. You cut the pain before it grew roots." She lowered her gaze. "Sometimes I still feel like crying." "Then cry," her father said gently. "But cry because you're free, not because you lost anything. You didn't lose a man. He lost you." That night, Kioma let the tears flow, just once. By the end of the week, she stood before a hall full of women invited to speak at a women's group. Dressed in a flowing blue gown patterned with white, her baby bump more visible now, she held the microphone with quiet strength. "I'm not here because I'm perfect," she said slowly. "I'm here because I broke and I rose again. And I want you to know, no matter what anyone has done to you, you are not weak. You are not small. You are not shame." Thunderous claps filled the hall. Some women wept openly. "The white gown doesn't make you a bride. Your dignity does. And if the man beside you doesn't honor you, walk away." The applause followed her like a song as she left the stage. Meanwhile, Ibuka sat in a dim bar, nursing a drink. His phone buzzed with another notification. Kioma launches foundation for betrayed pregnant women. The headline twisted in his gut. He dropped the phone on the table. From the next booth, someone whispered, "Isn't that the guy from room 712? He pushed back his chair and left, shame trailing him like a shadow. 3 days after the ruined wedding, The internet still hadn't stopped talking. Blogs, gossip pages, radio shows all carried the headlines, "Pregnant Bride Walks Out After Playing Hotel Recording." Room 712, the tape that shook the altar. Kioma becomes symbol of strength for African women. Everywhere she went, people pointed, whispered, or greeted her with admiration. Some hugged her, others slipped her letters. She was no longer just the bride who walked away. She was a symbol, but Kioma didn't care for fame. She longed for peace, for herself, and for her child. After a day of silence with her phone off, she turned it on to over 400 unread messages. Journalists, strangers, even churches wanting her to share her story. But one message from a woman named Ada pierced her heart. "You don't know me, but you saved me. I was trapped in an abusive marriage, too ashamed to leave. After I saw your video, I left with my child. You gave me courage. Thank you." Kioma held the phone to her chest, whispering softly, "Maybe that's why it all happened." The next morning, she sat in the garden, watching birds pick at the grass. Her mother joined her with a tray of tea and bread. "Mama, you don't have to bring me food all the time," Kioma said. "I know," her mother smiled, setting the tray down. "But feeding you gives me joy. You need strength now more than ever." They sat in silence for a while before her mother asked, "Have you spoken to Abuka since?" "No, I blocked his number." "Good," her mother said firmly. "I forgave your father once for cheating, and it almost destroyed me. I smiled in public, but inside I was dying. I won't let my daughter repeat my mistake." Kioma's eyes lowered. "It still hurts, Mama." "It will," her mother said gently. "But pain passes, just like labor pain. It feels unbearable, but once the child comes, joy follows." Kioma's lips curved faintly. "I hope so." Later that day, her phone rang from an unknown number. She almost ignored it, but answered. "Hello?" A calm voice replied. "Good afternoon, Kioma. My name is Mrs. Ifeanoa. I run the Grace Women's Center." "Good afternoon," Kioma said cautiously. "I watched your video and followed everything since. We'd like to invite you to speak with a group of young women. Many have faced betrayal, abuse, heartbreak. They need someone like you." Kioma hesitated. "But I'm not a speaker." "You are now," the woman said warmly. Kioma thought for a moment, then nodded to herself. "All right, I'll come."